What's poppin', y'all? It's looking like Doechii's back in business, and the business isn't so hot though, and yes, it is about music. In a negative way though, because I was scrolling on my feed on X as I usually do, and then I come across this and it says Baby Girl by Doechii failed to debut on the Hot 100. And I'm looking at this like, Doechii dropped a song? Because I'm somebody that follows Doechii's music. I enjoyed her last mixtape. She doesn't drop much music, or hasn't dropped music in a very long time. That Anxiety track, I could get how it was catchy, but it was one of those songs that really wore on people. Similarly to Not Like Us. I think those songs were just, well, Not Like Us was overplayed. If you turn on Not Like Us right now, people are like, yeah, that song had its time, and that time has long since passed. So it didn't age well. Same way that like Story of Adidon didn't age well. And that's just something that happens. But usually I keep up with her, so I'm surprised to see this. So I do a little bit of digging, aka 5 to 8, not 5, let's say 50 seconds of research. And I come across the fact that this song got only 700,000 streams after being out for, 12 days or so at this point. And that sounds terrible. If off the rip, you're somebody that I guess is even impartial to Doechii. Definitely a lot more people have a negative disposition towards her, but that doesn't tell the full story. So I would quote tweet this and say the following. As a TDE did irreparable damage to this woman's career. They invested too many marketing dollars into her, tried to present her as this new superstar that had a huge fan base, which was not the case. Now it's so bad that people are taking a song from an album cut on a separate artist project and using it to make her look bad. If you take a look at this song, it's the 9th track on an album by this woman by the name of Raven Lene, who's another Atlantic Records artist. She had this really popular song called Love Me Not. The song's at 1.2 billion streams. Keep in mind, this means that if you go to Doechii's profile, you can't find this song. You have to go to this girl's album, Raven Lene. This isn't even a single. It's not even a music video or anything like that. And specifically look for it to find it. And it's an album cut. It's a 9th track. It's like if we judge Lil Baby's 9th track and say that didn't chart. So I do think that's a little bit unfair. However, the reason why people are treating her unfairly is because she felt like she was presented to people in an unfair manner, and people were gaslit. And I said, most people aren't going to read into this. They're not going to look into what the song is. You can see by the replies on the original post. They just need more of a reason to hate on her. And it's not for any facetious reason, which is like, oh, she's a woman, or oh, she's a black woman, which they tried to gaslight people like, oh, people just hate female rappers. Like, what are you talking about? Males are unlikely to listen to a female rapper, sure, but they're not going to hate on Doechii in the way that they did because she's a female rapper. At best, they'll just ignore her. Like Ice Spice, people didn't think she was a good rapper, but they weren't hating on her like crazy because you could see the ascension was understandable. It made sense, whereas Doechii did not make sense. And it says it's because people felt like they were being gaslit, which they were. And keep in mind, this is a page that posts female rappers updates. They post about all female rappers. Like they're posting about awards that, like VMAs. What's her name? Megan Thee Stallion. She got nominated for a VMA. They're posting that. They're posting Young Miami. So this isn't some male that's hating on her or anything like that. That's not the case. And when you look at what Doechii's done as of late, like, let's say this year. First of all, that song with SZA, that didn't go anywhere. People be like, well, it's got this many streams. That was supposed to be a hit. It didn't end up being a hit. And then there was the soundtrack that people want to play on, the Doechii Defenders, which, frankly, it's always these foreign accounts that are doing this crazy defense of people on TDE, people on Rock Nation. And I don't know if it's because they don't understand the temperature in America, how things are going, or if, I don't know, maybe they're incentivized by other means to support these people. But when you look at The Devil Wears Prada 2, which is what people were trying to use as a rebuttal, they're like, man, she had a song with Lady Gaga. That song was a floppy disk. Yeah, she dropped a floppy disk. That song had a music video, everything. It did 69 million streams. And you might say, well, like 69 million streams, that's a lot of streams. No, it's not. Not in comparison to how big that movie is and to a couple of other different tracks that were on that same exact album. Like Saturn by SZA, that was on that. That did 1 billion. Worth It by Ray did 268 million on that same soundtrack. No One Noticed by the Mariahs. I don't even know who that is. Maria's? I don't know. 1.2 billion. You had Sienna Spiro, who's a newer artist, 99 million. You had Dua Lipa, 90 million. So when you think Lady Gaga and Doechii's just coming off of one of the biggest hits of the past couple of years, this should have banged. It should have been one of the top 3, top 4 songs on this, not project, soundtrack. But that was not the case. So far it's been 2 floppy disks for Doechii. And another individual that I want to contrast Doechii with, that I do think that they're learning from the mistakes of Doechii, is this girl Alameda. She had a song with Doechii last year, which just goes to show, like, Doechii, 4.7 million, that's an official song that showed up on Doechii's profile. The reason why I say the song on that album didn't show up is because it would have boosted the streams. I don't know by how much, but by some sort of an amount. I think it would have gotten over 1 million streams in total. But the reason why I say it's irreparable damage is because people were questioning Doechii. Like I said, the Grammy win was very odd to many people. I thought the album was great. The mixtape album, whatever they want to call it. Jeez, Chance the Rapper really did a number with that one. But the album was good. I listened to the album because of the Grammy nomination. People had heard of her before a little bit, but they tried to present her as the superstar, this crazy ascension, which not even Ice Spice had done. And Ice Spice is understandable. Ice Spice is a little bit of a, for lack of a better word, it's a, I don't want to be disrespectful. I mean this in the most respectful way possible. A freak show. You're like, wait, what's going on here? It stops you in your tracks. You're like, orange hair wig, curly haired wig. She's a light skin. She's making drill music in the Bronx, and she's like shaking her behind. She has these wild fluctuations in weight. Was she with Drake? Was she not with Drake? All of these different things. And on top of the music, and then the collaboration, which did her a massive solid with the British artist. Her name is escaping me right now. Pink Panthers. How could I forget? Pink Panthers. You could understand, like, okay, we're climbing up here. She didn't come out and get a top 5 song that they were telling everybody, oh, this is the hottest thing ever. And then they have people swarming Doechii in the streets. And when you go online, you don't see any conversation about it. And some people will say, like, man, online versus real life. Listen, man, you can even look at Doechii's tour. The numbers weren't there in comparison to how they presented her as this massive superstar. People were like, Aiden Ross was like, yo, Aiden Ross, he did go in a little bit hard, but initially he was just like, yo, who the hell is Doechii? Who is listening to this? And they said, like, yo, he hates black women. And people are getting gaslit, and people are getting angry because other people share the same sentiment. And they're like, yo, we're thinking the same thing as this guy, and we don't hate anybody, and he doesn't hate anybody. So why the hell are they trying to tell us that she's a lot more popular than she is? And they're trying to force it on us. And that is what people are just repelled by. And it's lingering right now because we're not going to look up a feature of an artist like hers and post something like this. And there's conversation around this. That's why it even ended up on my page, because I'm not really tapped into female rap like that. Except for Trim. Shout out to her. She's dropping bangers. That Nobody song hit. She's got to drop that hookah remix or sample or whatever it is. That's got to come out. But like I said, this girl, Raven Lene, this is a contrast to Doechii. This chick is, not Raven Lene, excuse me, Alameda. This chick went on tour with Isaiah Rashad, who's also TDE. She's growing. They're trying to grow her fan base. And they're doing it slowly. Now, if she catches a hit, I think when Doechii, it was just a nomination. That's it. And I think they thought that they could do this top-down approach with, oh, let's get a bunch of cosigns, let's get some features, let's hit up our industry connections and get some favorable nods here and there, and then the people below will just accept it. And then they'll be like, yo, she's popping, yeah, let me get behind that. Whereas you got to go bottom up, the other way around. Pause on that. Like, for example, you can't tell me that Doechii has a bigger fan base, people that care about her, people that are anticipating her music, than even a Nine Vicious. A Nine Vicious is an underground rapper who's got more motion than Doechii. And even if you look at the sales on a Nine Vicious project, I think, how much did Nine Vicious do his last project? I think he did similar to Alligator Bites Never Heal. And this is a very small artist. The majority of people in the world don't. Yeah, he did 12K. So Nine Vicious with Emotions did 12K first week. That is what Doechii did, 11K. And immediately after that, they're trying to tell us that Doechii's a superstar. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? And they could cook the numbers for this next album, which I don't know when it's going to come out, but they need to do a PR cleanse or something. And I think they use the ascension of
Kendrick Lamar
and the way that he defeated Drake as a way to potentially, I guess, like elevate her as well. They elevated her along that wave. She surfed that wave, and now that wave has kind of died out, not saying Kendrick's wave died out, but the anti-Drake, we're all going to pretend like we really care about this type of music that was going on, it's died out. And the only thing that should be left is the real fan base, like the hype behind that died out. And what's left, we're going to have to see with this next album or after the album, because they can cook the numbers a little bit or inflate the numbers. But right now, she's in a tough position. And I do kind of feel bad for her because a lot of this was outside of her control. Like, people will cite different things that she said in interviews, like, oh, like, I hate straight dudes and all of that. But let's be real here. You weren't going to be a massive fan of hers if she didn't say that. You were just going to be maybe lukewarm about her anyway. Or like, her target demo is majority female. So the fact that she said that, I don't really care for too much, to be honest. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.